There's a likely gap in the Kingdom Hearts timeline that is huge. We're looking at a gap that could be more than 100 years or close. This involves the timeline between Scarlet Kylem's creation, or Union Cross's ending, and Xehanort being born. If we include Xehanort being born in Dark Road, which is still in development, we can add even more decades than that, which would put it way over 100 years. This is a pretty big deal for Kingdom Hearts and could lead to a lot of new information being unveiled. Let me explain how I believe there's a 100-year gap. So Ephemer is one of the only characters known out of the Union leaders who didn't travel through time. As his arc didn't activate after Daybreak Town's destruction, this can be proven by how the other characters wake up after using their arcs. None of them wake up in the arcs they took, except for Ephemer, which leads me to believe everything around Ephemer got destroyed except the arc, which seems to be pretty powerful if a whole town can get destroyed on top of it. Though this on top of Ephemer waking up in a sea of those ruins leads me to believe he didn't travel through time to any select point. This is where the 100-year gap in the timeline begins. Ephemer kickstarts a Keyblade society and uses the knowledge of the Book of Prophecies to help guide its creation. The Book of Prophecies having a presence in Scarlet Kylem being more than confirmed, since Ericus mentions it during a mission in Dark Road, and this will be a really easy explanation for Sigurd or anyone else knowing where Brain would end up in the post-credit cutscene of Union Cross. Also, Ephemer has the Book of Prophecies. Ephemer is assumingly gone by the time Brain arrives at his destination. Ephemer likely grew old and saw the society flourish, and Ephemer, being the first Keyblade master and founder of Scarlet Kylem, nearly implies that there could be others who are in charge after him, and we would have no idea as to how much time has passed since they took over, or even how many people took over after Ephemer. Though we can assume that time has indeed passed. And if that is the case, that could be multiple decades of masters after Ephemer. We have characters like Xehanort living to their 80s in the Kingdom Hearts series, so if Ephemer lived a long life, then we're already looking at nearly 100 years just by the time Brain arrives. This includes Ephemer building Scarlet Kylem, society forming some sort of structure in this world, Ephemer passing, and potentially someone taking his place, or multiple people taking his place, and then Brain's arrival. Ephemer has no confirmed age, though we can assume this character is very young, likely no older than characters like Sora and Riku in Kingdom Hearts 2, which, by the way, Sora is 15 in Kingdom Hearts 2 while Riku is 16. Ventus in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep is around 16, and in Union Cross he's even younger than that by a couple years, so I'd assume the people he's hanging around are probably a similar age to him. The time between Scarlet being built and Brain's arrival at a minimum is multiple decades, and likely a lot more depending on how big the society is at this point, so there's a lot of potential time that has passed. The next part of this time gap involves what was both known and partially assumed to happen after Brain arrives. Ericus and Xehanort seem to be very close to the same age in their youth, so I think it's safe to use Ericus and Brain's hinted connection to picture a time gap. Brain is heavily theorized and hinted at to be related to Ericus, and it's assumed that he is Ericus's grandpa. This connection being emphasized and given more merit with Brain's Keyblade being Master Defender, which he did give to Ephemer, but also because of them looking very similar and Ericus being a confirmed descendant of one of the Union leaders, this seems more likely than him being related to Ephemer. Since it seems likely that Brain is Ericus' grandpa, this means that there's a very decent amount of time between Brain's arrival and Ericus' birth, and this would mean Xehanort wouldn't be too far before or behind whoever's older. In between this time, we don't fully know what Brain even ends up doing or what his role is during Scarlet Kylem. Ericus' dialogue in Dark Road episode 3 makes it seem like something serious did happen to him, so it seems like he must have had some sort of major encounter with the darkness between this time. So discussing a lot of what we talked about with some unconfirmed factors that could expand the timeline even more significantly, I'd say we're looking at anywhere between 100 to 200 years minimum between the ending of Union Cross and Xehanort and Ericus being born. I'd say just a little bit over 100 for now though, until we get more info on some things such as other masters after Ephemer. The biggest things being Ephemer growing old and potentially other masters of Scala even before Brain arrives, and this on top of Brain growing older himself to be Ericus's grandpa. This world stays around for quite a while, it seems. Based on these things, there seems to be a significant time gap in the Kingdom Hearts timeline, which gives us lots of room for discussion. They will probably explore a ton of Scala of Kylem's origins during Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, or even in future Kingdom Hearts games, since Mickey is visiting this world soon. Characters like Sigurd hint at some deeper history in this world that could lead to some sort of higher council or deeper motives by characters like Ephemer after what happened to Daybreak Town. We also have things like this mysterious hooded figure who watched over Xehanort on Destiny Islands. This hooded figure being separate from the time-traveling Xehanort we previously knew about. There's just a lot to explore about this timeline that could give us a deeper understanding of what sparked what's going on now and how everything leads to Xehanort and Ericus. These are just some thoughts I had though. Technically, most of this is speculation because with Kingdom Hearts, there's just too many factors when it comes to talking about time periods. We'll probably see a lot of Scala in the future, which is why they are keeping the world semi-mysterious right now. So I believe we'll be exploring every nook and cranny of this world one day. That's my prediction. How do you feel about this though? What would you like to see out of these 100 years or way more potentially that we just don't know anything about in the Kingdom Hearts timeline? What interests you the most, or what type of game would you like to see covered in this? Let me know down below in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, however, you already know what to do. Leave a like, share the video with a friend or a family member, and last but not least, if you have not already and want to become a part of the union, all you have to do is hit that red subscribe button down below. My name is Prodigy, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out, you guys. Bye.
Now she's a daydreamer. She's always thinking about him. No more room in this picture for you to fit in. Now she's crying on the phone, telling you she's not good enough for him. When you think that she is